Hello. We're going over Turbo's demo this time, or Turbolicious that is. He's playing an open. This is a scrim, and he noted that he's concerned about they adapted a little bit. This is the second scrim they played against the enemy team. They 5-0'd him the first time. The enemy team adapted, and this time they actually got 5-0'd, so he's wondering, I think, a little bit how to deal with adaptation. I'm not sure how I'm going to really help about that because I haven't seen the first one, so let's just get into it. Let's just see what rollout he does this round. Okay, so first of all, you want to make sure that you're not hitting that wall, and you obviously don't want to take fall damage there. So I'm not really sure what your first stick. I don't really remember, but if you put it high up on the kind of entrance doorway, right after you get out of last, you pretty much just get the quickest, most possible jump there. And then the jump in lower lobby is fine. So let's just see how this goes. You want a det there. That's like the optimal timing for hitting the demo at choke. The first stick you fired was perfect. And then I would be a little less, because you didn't det that first stick, I would be a little more concerned about actually pushing up here, because a lot of good choke demos will be actively shooting their second stick towards a scout, either the one coming up the planks or the one coming up where you just went up, the elbow. So just be a little more cautious there since your HP is a little bit low already. And right now, make sure you get like 4 or 5 before you start firing. This is good. It was exactly the right thing to do with your ammo there. And just keep these people out. You're already winning. I think your med's still up. So yeah, that was a good last. Or sorry, a good mid. Hopefully you guys have a good last. But yeah, that was a good mid. Just be a little bit wary about pushing up there, because he will kill you if he decides to shoot there. So I prefer to stay on the ground and just kind of shell them from there. And you don't really have a reason not to be kind of getting into them there. Just peek from that far left area with the ammo pack and just shoot into them, shell into them, so that you don't take the same damage to your soldier and you can still actually help him in this fight. So you guys have big uber advantage, I think, and your goal here is not to do a whole lot and just spam here. And yeah, setting up these traps to defend yourself is really good. Just make sure loaded for the end of this, because you're wasting all your ammo here. You didn't pick up the ammo to the left of you, where the bottle is, and because of that you're obviously not loaded and you don't have enough max ammo to really deal with shit after the uber. And that's what you're looking to do with that kind of uber. You want to come in after it with crit heals and everything loaded, after you've done a little bit of damage during it. So from this position, you can probably spam them out. You want to cut their door off, this far door, so your team can kind of pressure the point. You guys didn't get there quick enough, or you just didn't have time, so backing up here is the right choice. But you should have only put 1 stick on the lower door, and in between shooting sticks at the far door, just kind of looked at that door to make sure if anyone came through there, you were looking at them to det. Because, I don't know, from that angle, if you cover those 2 doors, it opens up a lot of room for scouts, because pushing through there is just, it feels really good to me as a scout, so it seems like it's pretty easy there. And this, you want to det on them a bit earlier, so you encourage them to use earlier, but that was fine. You guys aren't going to have to use here. You probably want to rotate big door just for the sake of not getting pushed into, and you also get to get some free damage on anyone pushing there, and anyone capping if you can push far enough. Obviously this push isn't going that well because they've had time to kind of whittle you down, and they obviously know where you are the entire time. So not kind of rotating big door is kind of a pretty big problem here, because you obviously don't get that free damage I was talking about, and they're already prepared for you because they know where you are exactly, and they know exactly when you're going to come in. So they kind of had a pretty good defense there. Right now you really need to work on getting ammo. You don't want to be concerned about much else, and in this situation you have to stay with your med, because I think everyone left him. So I wouldn't have gone too far. Like, he's just getting back to his soldier now, which is a problem. And obviously you're out of ammo, so you probably want to pick up the one behind the rock, because I would expect people to take the ones in front of you. You're going to only have 5 sticks right now, so you might even want to take, like, you just want to get ammo right now. It's not important to do anything else but get ammo. If you don't have ammo, you can't play your class, pretty much. So I wouldn't be wasting so many sticks right now. If you don't have above, like, 16 in total, then I wouldn't be, you know, spamming all this. And it doesn't make sense to put this kind of defensive trap up to prevent people from going in, because even though they have advantage, I think, because you didn't get to drop their med, you know, they're gonna clear it before they go in anyway, and you're already low ammo. So I'd be more actively spamming into there, hoping for some splash damage to kind of deter their push and get you guys a little more time to get some Uber in. So you guys being here is pretty good, because if they happen to push through choke, you guys can kind of move around. And by backing up, or by playing there really aggressively, you can see through that long hallway if they're pushing big door, and you'll have ample time to back up. Maybe they don't actually have Uber advantage, I kind of wasn't paying attention. So maybe you guys are just getting ready to push, but from a kiting perspective, that's the right position. And this is a pretty good composition at choke. Most times I would kind of have you hold alone, because whenever I push big door, I'm looking to kind of get the roamer in for a suicide if it's even. But yeah, this is a really good composition at choke. Just make sure you get your roamer in, because you're not going to be doing a whole lot from here. Okay, so you guys Uber in. I guess you... Okay, no, it was even. So here, I think the ammo pack was available to you in choke, and you missed it. So that's another problem. Still up, you want to take it. Like, you're gonna die anyway if they push you and you only have 3 stickies, so you might as well have taken that ammo, just for the sake of being able to fight a bit more. If you do a lot of damage at choke, you can stay here with a medic, but you guys decide to back off, and that's probably the right decision, because if they came through big door, you would have to kind of get to your big door before they got on you. So now you have enough ammo to actually play your class. So you want to be actively spamming this choke, and you're gonna be even because you're med-lived. You might be a little bit behind, because even though you Ubered earlier, you guys weren't building that efficiently. But you can still hold this choke, so I probably wouldn't have left that position at rock. In doing so, you kind of gave them the opportunity to push in because of their numbers. And you don't want to be right here. I don't think you guys should be pushing, because they're gonna have it too. Unless I missed something, I don't really know who their medic is, so I can't really keep track of him. But, yeah, see, they're Ubering anyway? You don't really want to do this. If you're pushing somewhere, it's because, and it's even Uber v Uber, then you push because you expect to get a kill immediately, and in that situation, if you don't, you have the luxury of pushing back and resetting and trying again. Or you're pushing because you know at the end of the Uber, if your medic plays properly, he's going to have enough or more heal spread and correct positioning that you'll be able to win the after Uber fight. So for example, your medic's pushing through big door, and then he ends up kiting to choke and picking up everyone there, and assuming your big door Uber goes well and you force them and spread some damage, your medic's going to get up to choke, crit heal everyone, and everyone's going to have really, really good health, and the people at big door that are probably fighting in the Uber can kind of jump away. So in that situation, you would kind of create more health than the enemy team by playing a bit better. But you'd have to buff a bit better, and the way you guys pushed this, your buffs weren't very good. Your medic kind of went with you instead of staying at choke and then leaving. Or, like, your medic kind of needs to be either in the center and follow people towards choke and then get back with you guys at big door, or stay choke and then walk to big door to get the most optimal buff. And so that's just kind of a precursor to a push like that where you're looking to push off of health. But yeah, in general, you guys should probably not push when it's even. And again, it's probably going to be even, because I don't think their med would have died since they had a really good position during that Uber. This is fine. I wouldn't put more than 2 there knowing that your ammo is really low. Like, they're getting cleared anyway, it didn't really accomplish much. And yeah, because of that, you didn't have enough loaded to deal with choke, and I think they forced you for free. And they picked up a scout. I think that's your scout, and that's your roamer. So you guys are pretty fucked right now. Everyone's dead. You need to jump away. Yeah, you just need to fight someone right now because you won't live very long. So you might as well just fight. So just probably 1v1 that scout there, or actually just try to jump away. That's the only way you're living or actually trading. So delaying for a long time when you're already losing is pretty bad. Okay, so yeah, you recognize it was good to come out right because the Uber is on the left. You don't need to actively watch that trap to know that you can either deter him without watching it or just look back to it occasionally and you'll kill him because his health is low. Like, just based on how that was going, the Uber kind of faded, a bunch of people shot at him. I would have put the sticky there like you did, but just kind of survey the area and look back to it very frequently. So as long as you don't have a really slow sensitivity, and I have like a shit sensitivity, it's like 14.8 inches and I can do it. So just like for the sake of gathering information, if you know that someone's going to die to a trap or more generally be deterred by it, then I would be more encouraged to look around, because if someone approached you from river, which I would expect since a lot of the fighting occurred on the left, and then the Uber just ended, so if someone were to approach you now, it would probably be like right now after the Uber ended, and you know, from river, or potentially someone's underneath water right now, and it doesn't really matter, but yeah. So going river alone, you should check behind you because there's a hiding spot on the pipes right above the entrance into water. Just a minor thing. I think your last was good enough that you can push out through these shard doors. So instead of taking all that time by going up top, and now you have this awkward positioning where they're already in, and you haven't really hurt them, and you're really close to them, which is a problem. This soldier really should be killing the fuck out of you, except I think he's greedy and he's trying to get your med. So fortunately, he didn't actually fire rockets, and that was good. Right now I'm not sure what your team's doing, or your combo, but this is good, killing the med there. Now I would suggest to you guys that drop down is the right approach, because it's probably gonna be the easiest way for your med not to get forced, just because it's a little bit slower, so buffs are gonna decay, and it seems like a pretty defendable position to me, especially with a demo ran who can stick off the ceiling. So you still, after you had capped mid, you had the potential to get through choke, because I think their med was still dead, or at least just spawning and handing out buffs. So I'm not really sure if you cut off his forwards or not, but yeah, you probably should have gone through choke there. This is still going pretty well, but unfortunately you Uber here, and their med's at like 40%, 50%, and if you don't get him, this Uber is not going to be good. Those are actually pretty good pipes, and it's kind of unfortunate they missed, but they were like, a pipe is good if there is a possibility that it's going to hit. There's higher probabilities that pipes are going to hit based on how people are like playing the situation. That's unfortunate, but those are good pipes. So what I mean by like a good pipe is like, yeah, if you're shooting at them where they have to like move a certain way, or they can't even get there, it's not a good pipe. But if you're shooting at them in a situation where, you know, they don't have to move in a straight line to hit that pipe, there's a lot of possibilities, like movement combinations for them to hit that pipe, it's probably a good pipe. So those are kind of pipes that I would describe as good, and like worthy pipes of being shot, so those are pretty good. And then obviously when you're pushing up here, just kind of look around a bit, and that won't happen in the future. I think you guys are still probably gonna Push last. You have to force them now. I think you had the means to do that, because it's just a soldier and a scout right now, and if you guys rushed properly, you would have been fine, but you didn't do that. So coming into here, I'd expect them to be pushing out, and you want to take this, yeah. And I might even be inclined to jump up top, because I expect them to be in lobby right now. They're not, so it's pretty good, and just make sure you stick them off, because I'd still expect them to push. Hitting that guy's fine. It'd be probably better if your medic was here, because, yeah, maybe you got their med, because he just died, so maybe you got their med in that last push. I wasn't really paying a whole lot of attention to other things going on. But in lobby, your medic needs to be on you, or like, since you were going to push, I didn't expect you to push because I thought it was even at that point, or they still had an advantage. Your medic has to be on you if you're going to be in lobby. It's really easy for them to peek you, and there's not a whole lot you can do to stop them unless you already have stickies up. So once you kind of walk up those stairs, you run the risk of when you come down them being kind of shot at. And that's what we do. We play really far forward, and anyone kind of coming down the stairs gets shit on, and there's nothing they can do about it. So I would, if it was known that you weren't going to be pushing with a combo, I would probably try to take a buff and then play a little bit further back, and if you got damaged, take the health pack in the lower area. Yeah, so this is going terribly. Your med's going to die. He's going to die late. You might get seconds, like another spawn wave, so you're looking to set up a trap here, probably. Okay, so they already spotted you. You don't have time. You want to slow them down as much as possible, because I think you can probably get your soldier or scout, the person who died second last, a spawn wave. Yeah, so by pushing them out a bit, you're doing a service to your team. You might actually get your med up here, which would be good for defending mid, and you shouldn't be in here. Like, they should be killing. Well, you should have died already for one, but really the only thing you guys were looking to do there was buy time for your spawn, so you could have a better chance of defending mid. And they made a lot of mistakes, so it turned out you could defend second, but I don't think it's really a risk worth taking doing something like that. Especially as a demo man. You never want to die as a demo man, because you can really control the tempo of the game. You really want to slow things down when you're losing. So I can understand maybe sacking scouts in there, that's totally fine to me. But I would, as you, the demo, just only shell them from like a long distance. So charge stickies into the front door, and as soon as it closes, just sticky them off and see if you can get a kill as it opens. And from there, if your scouts don't die or they trade evenly, and then you get that kill on the door, it's pretty easy to push into them, and even though I have an advantage, just force them. Because you'll probably end up even taking the point at around 60%, and then they'd push into you at 100. Just because they didn't have that big of an advantage. So yeah, you really need health here, and then that's kind of the problem with holding there. You don't have the luxury of as a demo man to be able to peek down into main actually and see what's going on. So, you know, it's kind of hard to see the sniper there, and he will be peeking you as opposed to you peeking him and then knowing he exists. So I would have a scout down there, and in general, when you guys aren't pushing or getting ready to push, I would have you and your medic and your soldier really kind of situated in lobby and controlling everything, and trying to get picks from like pushing you up on a balcony or something, if it was like an Uber v Uber situation. So yeah, you guys Uber when you don't need to, which is kind of unfortunate because a lot of people were going to die there and take damage there anyway. So instead of kiting and having a much longer Uber or not Ubering at all, you guys kind of concede and have a shitty Uber, which is pretty bad. You can't even stall them, they're already here, so your best bet is staying on point and being able to stop them from coming in, because I expect them to get mid pretty easily here. So you need to help out your soldier now. You should also be paying attention to big door, because you're hearing a fight going on there. But yeah, I expected them to rotate, so after your soldier takes that kind of damage, and there's not a whole lot of pressure on big door because you threw 3 or 4 sticks there without anything going on, it was definitely the right idea to come here. That said, I think you had charged a bit more and hit them a bit harder. And right now you should be looking to charge your stickies. And actually like shoot at them though, like, yeah. You want to get the ammo right now, because if you get it at such low ammo, like the ammo behind you, the one near the pill bottle, or the one right here, if you get it when you're this low on stickies, you're going to need it again soon, and when you need it, you want it to be up. So the earlier you get it, the earlier you cycle it onto a like cooldown, the better it is. So right now, yeah, you just want to be behind the medic. The scout wants to be on him. The scout needs to be getting buffed more here. And then this is just good, what you're doing right here. Now you don't want to take that damage, so you should have backed up. And then as soon as you saw that their Uber was closer, you needed to back up. So in general, I would have been a bit further back there, but up until the point where you stayed after hitting the soldier to the left of the point, that was good.
Alert! The control point is being captured.
And maybe you could have actively pushed the beginning of that a bit more and kind of shot them a bit more, because when everyone peeks that door, you're looking to get a pick quickly if it's there. So having everyone come through is pretty nice. So this is a situation where that's fortunate, but you should be looking to kill them. And I would imagine that they would be pushing there, so instead of kind of standing around the shutter door, I would gladly sack into them and assume that they were still pushing. They kind of pussied out, so it wouldn't have mattered either way. But if they were going to commit into you, sacking into them would buy a lot of time for your team, and you'd probably get a bunch of kills. Especially if people followed up on it. So you could bomb choke right now, because I'm pretty sure they have advantage on you. Well, I know, but I thought it was bigger than they did, so they should be going. Yeah, so you don't need to bomb it because they were really slow, but I would have, as your team, kind of kept the Uber and see if you could defend lobby and then kind of peek out with it without using. It's hard to do in Gully Wash, but that's definitely the most optimal thing. And then you end up having like kind of a bad Uber here and you don't stop the point and someone gets behind, which is unfortunate. But yeah, the only reason I suggested you bombing over anyone else is because the roamer was 4 HP at the time. And this rollout's really bad because you're taking a lot of fall damage. I think you took 2 instances of fall damage, which is pretty bad. So if, in general, I think choke is a worse rollout. Like, you will lose if the demo man at big door is hitting properly. Like, you will just, the mid will just snowball in their favor if he plays well. And then on top of, like, you're supposed to have the same HP, but he has a little bit better positioning to fire stickies. Because he hits you with his first stick and you can't really hit him with your first stick. So when you're already at this situation this week, you run the risk of actually dying to his first stick or being like 100 to 90 after you take the pack. So luckily he didn't go there, and you pretty much killed that scout. And you want to make sure those sticks hit. So if you don't, like, you look at the stickies and if they don't hit, just make sure you slow them down by keeping them on the ground. Obviously with better charging you're going to hit those sticks, but if you don't know 100% they're going to hit, you should just leave them on the ground. In this situation you ignore this guy. Your team should have been able to deal with him, and you're just concerned with deterring the follow-up from their team, because they should be in here right now. Since he was so successful, they should be killing you guys. They just kind of pussied out, and they're letting them get into you, which is a problem for them. But yeah, you should have just worked on keeping them out and having your team kind of kill that soldier. If your medic was playing well, he wouldn't be dead right now, and if a bit of the other players were more conscious about that jump, they would have killed him pretty quickly. Obviously, you might die, but like they had a pretty good situation with what was going on, so you're just minimizing the losses for your team. And it's not that bad to lose a demo in like a kind of even situation. So you both have Uber right now, and you could just wait to get up. You had the potential to just walk into them in there and see if you could force them. And if you can do that early enough for your team, you obviously are always going to get away. Like your mid won't die to that Uber if it's early enough, so that might have been a pretty good call. I probably would have done that. Especially if I had someone else to follow up with me. So yeah, your med's going to die here. You should... That was your scout actually. Oh, a few months. I always forget. Yeah, you lose here. You should just leave. Just the positioning they have is just too powerful. And I think it was lucky that you even got a kill. As a team. So yeah, you definitely overstayed your welcome. And I would have expected them to kill a bunch more people, honestly. So you have like 30% advantage, but you can't use it right now. So I don't even think you could have used it if you stayed alive there, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. So right now, yeah, I think it's fortunate that Uber got a kill, but on the same hand, they're not Ubering probably. So they're gonna kind of run into last. So you gotta sticky off everything, and then push the side that they're not coming in. So in this instance with your buff, I would peek river, because if you meet them there, you can force them really early and do a lot of damage that they can't heal out through the Uber. But it looks like they're doing the smart thing and they're waiting for everyone to respawn before the Uber. So yeah, I'd be more, like, you don't ever want to have your pipes out. Just because you have stickies up doesn't mean you want your sticky launcher, or you don't want your sticky launcher out. If you're piping something, it's because you should know they're there and you're actually going to deal damage. Because if you're caught with no pipes out, you're reloading and you have to switch to stickies, you won't be able to damage a door that you don't already have stickies on, which is a problem. But yeah, the way we play Gully Wash is, we'll just work on this push. So you damage that guy immediately, but it's a solo Uber anyway. It's going fucking miserable, and they actually let you guys get Uber. Maybe they did Uber in that push. So this is just kind of textbook. You couldn't really do anything wrong here, and that trap was good. When you're pushing into lobby, you shouldn't really push in through main unless you're really comfortable. You only got the soldier, I'm pretty sure. Maybe you got another pick. But you have to worry about people in the lower right, people above you right here. There's a little ledge you can sit on. And then obviously with the demo man up, he's going to kind of poop on you guys. And wasn't a whole lot of support from your team there.
Alert. The control point is being captured.
In general, like, I don't like what happened there. I prefer for you to go into the lower right, expecting maybe to pick someone up there, like find a kill, or at the very least push them back and be able to deal with big door at the same time, instead of going straight into them in an area that kind of favors their demo man. So their demo man's going your side, but you got up as fast as possible, which is really good. You should have been looking to kill them and not this soldier. And while it's good that you got this advantage with the soldier, you could have done a lot more by deterring them from getting up through elbow. But yeah, that was just a good mid from you. You shouldn't lose this. So I don't think you guys should be exchanging here. You have some numbers, but you don't want to Uber and kind of use your numbers as an excuse for the Uber, because it's going to be totally different after the Uber ends, And an Uber v Uber, that's all that matters after the Uber ends. After the Uber ends. So in the situation where you maybe have 4v3, you know, that's good. You know, if you could fight them and they didn't have Uber, that'd be great. But they're gonna Uber, their spawns are closer, and your demo man, as you, the demo man, you're gonna be pretty shit weak by the time you get there, or at least the roamer. Because I think it was just scout, soldier, med, maybe another scout, maybe a roamer. Regardless, there's gonna people that are gonna be weaker because they have more distance to travel. So it's just probably gonna be a bad exchange, and I don't think they Ubered there. So they're gonna stop this, and I think that's what's going on right now. So you want to sticky the ground because yeah, you want to make sure the people that are gonna leave are gonna get out, and sticking the wall isn't gonna do that. So make sure when you're losing, you just keep them out. In general, like, unless nothing is going on, you probably don't want to trap shit. Just make sure everything's like in your control. That's what Demo Man's about, is controlling the game. Also would have benefited by putting that stick a bit lower, obviously. So if you don't want to put them on the ground, which I would do just to be safe and ensure like that I always got the result I wanted, you could put it lower to the wall and still kind of achieve the same effect, but you wouldn't deter them from coming in, you just do a bit of damage. So you probably still would have killed your med. Kill the scouts. Okay, you have the opportunity to just fucking shit on their scouts. Both of them on the cap, just a giant sign, just like juicy kill me, kill me, kill me. So just kind of get onto them if they make that kind of mistake. I know that they have advantage right now, but I think they're probably like, okay, no, they do actually have it, but at the time I think they were probably like 80%. Because they just killed the med at the end of their Uber. And you guys had 50%? So yeah, that was just fine. They had the shittiest Uber in the world. Yeah, this is a situation you don't want to run into where they're possibly pushing. And you're in spawn. Doesn't really matter, but they forced you, so that's pretty shitty. Right now, what you're concerned with is blocking off choke, because I imagine they backed up their choke. So you want to probably jump there above it and just kind of sticky it off. Yeah, you could have afforded to jump there, and you probably would have helped your soldier a lot. And this is another situation where you want to be preventing their entry, not actively killing them, because you have people capping. Granted, too many of your teammates capped, but you're down one and you have one on the point, you're not going to be able to push off any aggressive damage you do. So you're just making sure you don't get in, make sure they don't get in first, so put the defensive stickies up and then shell them, and you can use that damage you're dealing as a way of feeling comfortable that you don't have defensive stickies up, rather than doing that immediately. So yeah, they have Uber right now. If they're good, they're not using, and they just kill everyone for free. So your med just died. This soldier is going to die, probably to a respawner, or right now. And you guys are fucked! There's pretty much no way they can fuck this up. They're gonna have Uber going to last unless this scout goes huge. That's gonna make a play on them. I doubt that's gonna happen, so what you're gonna have to do is if they decide to go river and you meet them there, you have the luxury of killing them. So I would have been on the ground on the right, taken a buff, and kind of pushed into them. I would have expected them to be a river because they delayed a long time, but I guess they were waiting for their second wave of spawns because their first wave should have gone there pretty quickly and they should have gone in main. So probably put stickies main, and then as you get a buff, check river, and if they're there, just sack into them and do as much damage as you can. But they were slow a little bit, which gave you guys time to get buffs and set up, so you might be able to hold this. You want to sticky, yeah, I would have stickied off a demo, because as that demo I would have assumed you would probably prevent me from going forward. So just kind of like a metagame kind of thing, but it wasn't really important. Hopefully, in that situation, the next time someone actually tries to pick up that demo, because he was a pretty free kill. Also, he shouldn't have gone forward because, you know, he wanted to stay with his mech, so they kept charging and his mech was safe. So I imagine he would have backed up there. He just didn't. So actually kind of worked out for you. Again, you're taking the ammo from the resupply, which is never that great. And if you're going to do it, you want to be looking away from the resupply, so you can still kind of watch traps and see what's going on and react to them coming in. So if they come in and you're mid resupply and you don't think you have time to get it, you can actually walk out and it won't be that bad. Whereas you're just looking towards the resupply, not really know what's going on, and your team has to react to what's going on and then communicate through mumble, which has, you know, the latency, and you're not going to hear it quite as quick, which is a problem. So again, you don't even have a trap up right now, which I would always do on this last. This is probably the best last for putting a trap up, because you pretty much guarantee a force. But like, you should have had stickies out and then be reloading rather than piping where you didn't know they were coming from for sure. And on a last where it's not really advertised where people are pushing from, like this one, piping is pretty bad. Piping like pipe spam. That was like a fine pipe. Like that's one of the pipes where I would expect him to get hit, and by denying his escape, I would have assumed that your soldiers would kill him, but they just got shit on. So that's shitty. So yeah, you can't do anything off of this. You're just gonna have to build really hard because your pocket just died. And if they're building really hard, they're even. But if you're building really hard and they're not, you probably have 40% on them. So in that case, you can push. But I imagine against a good team, you'll be only 20% advantage. So you could take lobby with that. In fact, you could take lobby right now. Yeah, I would personally take river if with a buff. Like, you need to be taking this with a buff, but I think you should have been taking lobby with your team. And just have your mag hand out heals aggressively to the people at river so they could take that, and you could take lobby for free. And this is a problem because, yeah, you knew that they were going to get Uber, so I don't know why you guys really pushed out. Like, with such a low advantage, you basically have to use the threat of your Uber and the poorness of their position to kind of get some free kind of reset push going, where you just kind of push in, do some damage, but never really have the potential of getting screwed over. So if you don't hit the scout with your first stick on the overhang there where you first shot, then unless he's fucking garbage, he's not going to be going there. So I wouldn't put the second stick on in front of that ammo pack to prevent him from kind of pushing you, because he probably won't be there. So put your second stick maybe towards the air, so you could maybe like air dead or something, or towards elbow. See, right now you should be peeking around the right corner and kind of hitting them as they come up elbow. Yeah, that was just unfortunate. And then you pushed up with low ammo and low health, which was a problem. And you wasted a lot of ammo at the beginning of mid, whereas their demo kind of conserved it. Which, yeah, no, he had a better mid than you because of that. Because I think you both came up the same time, if not, you went up a bit earlier. So, yeah, I was gonna say you might want to conserve some ammo there, because I would have had someone else force them after the first sticky, but you guys had a pyro, so that wasn't happening. But that was just a pretty unfortunate last in general. So, regarding the adaptation thing, I imagine you guys were just rolling them mid to last. Or you just got kind of fatigued because your transition is a little weak right now. And there's not a whole lot they can change about transitions that that really is going to make a 5-0 turn into a 0-5. So I think it's probably they just countered your mids a bit, and I would say that the times when they're mirroring you, you're getting better position and the beginning of your mids are better, and then you waste a lot of ammo, and you don't really achieve what you should be doing with that earlier timing getting to the top. Getting there is actually a feat in itself. Like, that's really good that you're getting there before the other demo because of the roll you're doing, and then the sticky that you're firing, and you don't hear the hit beep, so you walk up. And that's really good, but you have to actually follow up properly, and that's kind of hitting them as they come through elbow. And then in this situation where I think this is the first mid, they also, or he went choke, and you killed him because you walked up really early, which was a mistake. But I think this mid you didn't hit him, and if you don't hit him going big door, then you just lose. Like right now, it's just not enough really to work with. And I think in general your team isn't embracing going up the right side as much as you are. So if everyone kind of commits to going up there, if it's a mirror, you're always going to be up there earlier. And if their demos with choke, if you're doing your job and your scouts do their job properly, you're going to win the health trade, and you're going to open it up for your soldiers. So it's just kind of up to them to work off of that. And this round's kind of shitty. They're down one and these guys are still getting raped. Oh no, that's your down one. Whoops! That makes sense. Yeah, so that's unfortunate. You guys got equalized. I don't know why they're pushing when you were down one. That's actually pretty gay. Yeah, you guys are doing the right thing there. Should have probably defended second a bit more and try to force them, and just have a shitty Uber at last when they 6v5 you. So that was unfortunate that they kind of played a little cheap there, but in general, too many sticky traps when you should be preventing people from going in. You don't, on mids especially, you don't load at the right time. Like, you're not prepared for your soldiers to go in, your scouts to go in, you're not loaded when they go in sometimes. Just make sure you understand the flow of the mid and how it's going and when you need to be loaded. So work on that a little bit. It's a lot easier when you guys have some like more set mids, or there's a lot of communication going on, because soldiers like, I'm jumping soon, you know, you get an extra 2 seconds to reload. And then obviously what I mentioned about the mids as a team, you can kind of work on there. And then in general, I think you roam demo at inappropriate times because you don't have a buff. So I get a buff and then do kind of a roam thing. And you roam demo when it's not really convenient for you. Like, you only roam demo because someone isn't, like, for example, going up river. And you guys should delegate that to someone else who actually benefits from that position. Because a lot of times you were ending up top at 2 and you just didn't have a sightline of anything, and it wasn't really working out. Good position for bombing, so in the couple times that I mentioned you could do that, that was definitely a possibility, but for the most part it's not very beneficial for a demo man to be up there. So just for the sake of clearing things out, I would send someone else there. And yeah, like, you're not really in a whole lot of pushes, which I think is a little bit of a problem. A couple of times you would like hold a position as your team kind of reset pushed or Ubered in through another door. And while I think that's pretty good in the case of a reset push, because Downman don't really offer a whole lot there, especially on Gully Watch when they 100% hold choke by themselves. For an actual push, I'd like to see you more behind your teammates, shelling in, kind of thing. And then last, you only got to it a couple of times, and the one I remember, you were low on ammo because you didn't pick the ammo up near the second bottle in river, and then you wasted all your ammo during the Uber instead of saving some for the after Uber, which is really like the mantra of pushing in through river. You know, your demo needs to be loaded for the after Uber to kind of shit on them after he's put some sticks on the point or put some defensive stickies up. So that way you're effectively having 12 stickies at the end of the Uber. You know, you put 4 on the ground and you're loaded 8 for the end of the Uber, something like that. Obviously, if you can get a lot of damage during the Uber, then you do, but you were kind of shooting at Uber people. You didn't. Like, it's better to lay them down. If someone un-Ubered walks on them, you dead, because it's more guaranteed than flying through the air, because the medic can react to and flash that. Yeah. Your rollouts need a little bit of work. But that's not that big of a deal. I think it was mostly the mids that game, and I kind of went over what was wrong with those. Don't see a whole need to wrap that up too much, so good luck improving. Take it easy, man.